everybody? Welcome to the Bombastic Season 20, the StarLeague of the foreign scene. I got with me in the caster booth today, Machine. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Sean. Doing well, man. I mean, excited to really get this kind of underway. I was kind of saying this earlier in the chat, but every single match has a Zerg in it today, so I'm grinning ear to ear over here, man.
Me too, buddy. Me too. It's my favorite race to cast and to play, obviously. I'm super excited about these plans we got today. Looks like the first up on the chopping block is MadiNho and StRyKeR. I don't actually think these two have played against each other officially before, by the way.
Yeah, I can't recall a match, but nevertheless, two veterans in the scene. I'm sure they're at least familiar with how they expect this one could possibly go here. But yeah, man, both solid competitors. I'm really excited to see how this one plays out. You got any ideas on how this match could go?
I mean, it's hard to say for sure, just because I've never seen these two guys play really at all. I imagine StRyKeR might pull out something a little bit cheesy. I do think that StRyKER's got really good Mutalist micro overall, so I think he'll be relying on that quite heavily to control the mid game and stay in the driver's seat, so to speak. Whether or not he'll be super cheesy about it remains to be seen. He doesn't necessarily need to play cheesy to beat players of a similar caliber, so I'm not too sure about that one. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to echo those same sentiments, man. Incredible muta control. We see it time and time again out of StRyKER. He's definitely not someone you really want to give that opportunity to. And in a Zerg versus Terran matchup, it's unavoidable, I'd say.
Right.
He can get cheesy, but I feel like compared to the old StRyKER, I almost like that he's willing to throw in those random, Ling all-ins, mass, Ling timings or an early pool versus wall-offs
Right.
that a lot of players will just forego. It's something you don't have to be concerned with. But unfortunately for him, he's facing off against MadiNho. And man, when I think of this Bacardi Terran here, he has so many different types of openers. He is not a Terran that's afraid to wall off and go straight mech. Has some very, incredible just standard bio play as well. He reminds me of like a European Terror. He really can do it all, and it makes him all that much more terrifying to face off against in, a massive match like this.
Yeah, so really, both of these players capable of an exceptionally large and a large variety of play. And I think that in StarCraft, it's much more like poker than something like chess in terms of like what range of play is necessary to obfuscate what you're trying to do and to switch gears at the necessary timings and don't get kind of railroaded into one way of thinking so that the other guy can metagame you too much. And MadiNho, like you say, is a bit of a Viking warrior, likes to sip a little bit of that tipple, get a little bit wasted, but not so much that he can't play the game. It's almost like it's a superpower. It takes away the nerves and he
Oh, for
allows them just
sure.
to slip into the ebb and flow of the game, completely block out the world around him, and just play some great Terran. So I think this might be in a seriously good matchup between these two.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited to see how this one goes. I mean, as we can see, we know set one going to be on Dominator. This is a pick from MadiNho. I like the three-player map pick from a Terran, versus a Zerg here. Um, I think it can be quite difficult should the game go past mid game for StRyKER on a map like Dominator. If you're unable to secure that fourth
Right.
as Zerg, good luck, and MadiNho will just choke you out for
Yeah,
sure.
I think it depends on what spawns they get. Say MadiNho gets bottom left, for example. StRyKER could easily exploit that back pocket with his Mutalist. I think MadiNho kind of hoping for that 3 o'clock spot at the moment. If you take a quick look at the map, you can see this very different geometries of how the base are laid out. But hang on, guys, we're jumping into game number one already on Dominator between MadiNho and StRyKER. Let's get it on.
Alrighty, and spawning mid right at that 3 o'clock position here as the blue Zerg from North America. It is StRyKER.
In the bottom left, it's the blue Terran from Norway. It's MadiNho.
What do you think about these positions? Just to kind of kick things off, Sean.
Very, very StRyKeR favored, I would have to say. This back pocket behind the mineral line in the main is like one of the worst positions to deal with for Terran. Like, even though the gas is aligned closer to your minerals, so you can kind of set up turrets easier than top left because the gas isn't kind of wide to the mineral line. It's actually worse than top left in the sense of there's this massive dead space behind the minerals for the Mutalisks to exploit and keep rotating down around from the natural over and over again, and kind of force the Terran to play very aggressive with their marine positioning just to keep kicking the mutas out of their main base. And we'll hold the phone there for a second because we got an 8 racks in the center of the map. He can't float that back to safety. This is a very big commitment from MadiNho here, Machine.
I love it. I mean, we were kind of talking about it at the start. One of the big issues when you're facing off against MadiNho is he is such a threat. He's not, adverse to throwing out something like a proxy 8 racks to kind of kick off a series and set the tone.
Right.
This is also not all in at all. This reminds me very much of how Terror opens his 8 racks. We already see a gas inside the main here for MadiNho. He's going to be transitioning to mech. Really, this is just to kind of throw StRyKeR off his game. And, I mean, let's face it, he could die to this very much, as well. So we'll see how StRyKeR responds here.
Yeah, pretty quick gas timing from StRyKeR, so definitely optimizing his lair and tech timings. It does scout it though. Look at this. Wow. Oh my gosh, I love it. He understands the possible range of play from MadiNho, knows he needs to check for that, and it's also a 12 hatch, not 11 hatch. So the creep finish is even later, so you can't just like throw down a bunker to be safe against, throw down a sunker to be safe against a leapfrogging of bunkers. So we'll have to pull at least 5 or 6 drones initially, and can also just decide to not mine gas for a while here and try and optimize this early game defense as much as possible and try and intercept these Marines out on the field.
I'm surprised because, normally a lot of Zergs will cancel that gas. StRyKER's decided to not only take it, but he is actually mining it. So he's doing this about as greedy as you possibly could, only showing the 5 drones as well. Fortunately, this is not the 2 racks variation. He's going to be completely fine, as long as he doesn't lose these drones, obviously.
Yeah, he's got 1 drone on gas, which you're completely correct. It's so strange. I mean, oh, he lost the drone to an SCV. I don't even know what happened there, but that's crazy. He even slides the SCV over the mineral line to get it to safety. Now the Marines going to be thinking about gathering their forces. I mean, 4 Marines can beat 4 Zerglings with decent enough micro, especially if you've got 1 SCV to body block, and he has got another SCV in the middle of the map, but it seems like he's thinking better of it. He doesn't want to risk committing these forces. He wants to pull them back to safety after getting that drone kill. And a lot of lost mining time already early game. Might be just, calling it a day and heading back and going underway with this transition and enjoying a tiny little economic lead in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to. I'm not sure what the call would be here. I want to say he put down a Hydra Den inside his main, which...
Maybe, yeah, I think so.
I kind of think this works, but he's still nevertheless going to need a Sunken. I've been waiting for a Sunken this whole time.
Right.
I'm really not sure why that Sunken's not there. And this is late. If MadiNho scouts this out, this really could do some game losing.
What? Okay, I guess he just figured it was too late anyway. But, I mean, this is a bit of a nightmare situation because with good micro, with good control on this Vulture, he's not going to have much hope at defending it, especially if he's committing his gas into getting Hydras and not link speed early on. There's not going to be much counterplay to a well-microed Vulture. Having a little bit of a hard time getting that going, though. The 2 links on the ramp buying enough time for a Hydra to pop out. Now can start to bat this back, but with Marines now supporting the Vultures, it'll be a little bit problematic. Has got some drones coming in to assist this. Hydra being targeted down, though, and now StRyKeR in a lot of trouble, Machine.
Yeah, incredible timing here from MadiNho, even versus the the Hydraless transition, which at a glance seems like the correct move here, given the position. But I mean, really, 1 Sunken would have done wonders here.
Right. Oh, absolutely. 1 Sunken probably shuts this down completely, or at least forces him to gather a much stronger timing attack to make something like this work. He wouldn't be able to do anything like that. He could maybe go for a Vulture run by or something, but with the Hydras and Sunken being there, would have been so hard to achieve that. Instead, though, StRyKeR being a little bit too greedy to try and make up the deficit he found himself in, and now he's paying the price for it. All the drones are pretty much dead except 1 on the Geyser. That's pretty much going to be GG. Even a Wraith to come here and seal the deal now.
Yeah, he's kind of just gathering his thoughts at the moment, I believe.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Wow, that's a crazy game number one. I'm sure you as a competitor know how important that game number one is to not only set the tempo, but also keep your opponent guessing in the future games to come. That's a really big swing for MadiNho going forward.
Yeah, fortunately, StRyKeR is the type of veteran that he's immediately recognized, his mistake, in the mid game of that game one there. So it's not like he doesn't know how to bounce back from it. But if you're MadiNho, you have to be happy with how game one ended off. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's
Well,
about as good as it can go, right? I mean, for pulling off a build like that, you almost don't expect it to do that well. I really feel like the SEV killing the drone for free and the decision making to keep one drone on gas for StRyKeR meant he couldn't really afford to get Hydras and a sunken and still be okay, economically speaking. So he kind of bit off his own toes there.
Yeah, for sure. I think if he had not held on to the extractor inside the main once he scouted the 8 racks, it would have been a simpler hold anyway. But still, I mean, with this, MadiNho now down to just one more map win to close out the series. So really, there's a lot of pressure being put on StRyKeR here. And if you're facing off against an 8 racks game one of a set like that, that's a possibility that could be thrown in again.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of tough to, if you're StRyKeR, what the proper decision making will be here going into map 2. Fortunately, map 2 is StRyKER's map pick here on Eclipse. So he's got that going for him. Another great map for mutalist control, as we were talking about Dominator there as well. So maybe
Right.
StRyKER just kind of takes a step back, says, "Hey, let's play a little more standard. Let's just get to mid game. Let's get my mutas on the map and see where things go."
Well, let's figure it out. We're jumping into it right now, guys. Game number 2 on Eclipse. Let's get it.
Alrighty, spawning top right side of Eclipse as the red Zerg. Once again, we have StRyKER.
And his opponent in the bottom left is MadiNho, currently enjoying a 1-0 advantage. Asking if StRyKER's okay, or is asking if the ping's okay. It's either a little bit of a sneaky trash talk or a bit of a question about the ping. I imagine it's the latter. I'm just being funny. Making sure that it's not too stuttery. I'm sure you know as well, playing as Zerg, like you don't mind lag per se because you can kind of act as like a gypsy fortune teller and kind of execute the command slightly ahead of time to get it to function. But if there's stutters, it's almost impossible to get your mutas to fire or something.
Sure, yeah, you want that consistency. Like you're saying,
Right.
it's all right if there's a little bit of latency, but ideally, you need to know when your actions are being received. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But
One thing as well, this is a good map for mech, right? If MadiNho wanted to, he could just go for mech here on Eclipse. It's not totally a bad play.
that's a great call, Sean. I think you're right, actually. After you say that, I 100,000% think that's what MadiNho is going to end up doing here. It is a very strong map for mech. We saw really a big mech resurgence when this map first became popular. So it's
Right.
kind of it's a big possibility here. We'll have to wait and see. Still no refinery in the main though for MadiNho. So looking more and more like a standard 1-racks expo, but still would have been a pretty good call on Eclipse.
Yeah, I thought so. He definitely certainly has that in his range of capability. Don't necessarily we'll see that from him just yet. Probably just a 1-racks FE type play. We'll have to see if he wants to follow that up with any kind of weird tech transitions, but I imagine it's going to be somewhat of a standard game. A little bit of good SCV harass, actually. You don't usually see Terran players go the extra mile to do this kind of harass in the early game, just forcing a little bit of lack of mining time from the drones while he's waiting for his own minerals to tick up for the CC. And he's skipping Marine. Did he skip a Marine or was that Marine? Okay, he did skip a Marine. Okay, I thought for a second he skipped to a Marine. Oh, he did actually. There's an SCV out in front. So because of the lack of drone scout early on, he was able to skip over the Marine. You only have to make that Marine if the drone scout comes in early. That's a big win for MadiNho.
I mean, he also has the SCV inside StRyKER's main. He knows this isn't some kind of crazy early pool timing. That's a complete wall off, by the way. No matter what, he's not really at a threat to any kind of early Ling harass from here. So he can really afford to be a little greedy about it, and it's nice to see that he knows exactly how to walk that line.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that makes or breaks a good or a great StarCraft player. It's one thing, executing a build order well and trying to play the game to the best of your ability. It's another thing understanding all the little tiny nuances and decision trees that you can navigate and optimize and min-max depending on what you scout. And it seems like MadiNho, very experienced in getting a maximum amount of juice out of the orange at every junction here. Pretty good micro, though, from the high drone of StRyKeR, putting a lot of DPS onto that SEV scout. It's going to get probably
really nice control there.
Probably like 2 or 4 Zerglings, but he kind of has to make 4 here. Like, it's so common for Terrans these days to put on the Naked Marine pressure early that 4 Lings is kind of like the bare necessities at this point.
Yeah, you absolutely have to have 4. You'll never really see the pros without 4 at this point in the game. And I mean, he does lose a Zergling there, so oh no. I mean, you can kill this with drones, but boy, 2 more Zerglings right now would really be beneficial here for StRyKeR.
And it is going to be a tech-tail play-look machine. He is making a factory right now. So, I mean, it might not necessarily be mech, but it certainly might be some kind of 1-1-1 tech-tail play, maybe into Valkyries. We'll have to wait and see. If he gets these Marines behind the mineral line, that's a pretty big deal. He can also put a bunker down there. It's a nice little spot for a bunker. And unless he gets a perfect surround with these Lings, might be a little bit annoying. Does manage to get some surface area on those Marines to start chipping away at them, though. So we'll be able to clean this up slowly but surely and avoid total disaster, but also not a huge investment from MadiNho. I think he might be planning on going into mech from this. Yeah, it is going to be a mech switch. Look, good call from us early game.
Yeah, we totally knew what we were talking about. Oh man, yeah, I like the mech transition here with the wall off. Despite losing the Marines early, there's no real threat here from MadiNho. I will say StRyKeR handedly dealt with that timing, though. He's also got to be feeling pretty good about the position, killing off, forcing the bunker, killing off all of the early Marines. He definitely has map control for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, even though he can't necessarily kill the Terran player because of how effective these wall-ins are, I mean, he will be able to get away with a very fast on-location third base. That's nothing to sneeze at as a Zerg. If you can get that third guess up super early, it does make you feel a lot more comfortable, especially against something like mech. Usually the Vulture is slowing you down, and if they're really good, even until Mutalisks are out, that Vulture is denying that third base going down. So it's a pretty good idea from StRyKeR here, just to quickly get that third going.
StRyKeR did scout the factories inside the main with a lone overlord, so he knows exactly what he's up against here. Fortunately, though, MadiNho has hit his build perfectly. We already see the eBay up along with, factory. Goliath production likely has started. I don't think StRyKER's really going to be able to get too much damage done here, other than maybe a couple SCVs, something like that for the moment.
Yeah. I mean, the turret in the natural is a little bit slow, but it seems like most Zerg players, they're too busy chasing the Vultures around with the Mutalisks to really get any significant damage done. Usually this is Vultures not only potentially harassing you, but is also slowing down that third base. Either way, he has to play chase around with that Vulture, get it off the map while he still can, so he can divert all of his attention to harassing MadiNho. And he has got this floating eBay over a turret in the main. He likes to do that a lot. It can be a little bit annoying for Zerg players. You can't actually target that turret. You'd have to do manual attack commands and good alignment. And if there's, Goliaths nearby or something to glitch out the Mutalisk, it's really hard to kill that turret.
Good defense here so far by MadiNho. StRyKeR scouting in, getting an idea of Goliath count for the moment. We see a 4th hatchery, which is kind of a very key phase in development for Zerg versus Terran versus mech. You really want to get that 4th hatchery earlier versus mech than you would, versus standard bio opener. See plenty of drones in production here for StRyKER's third base. What StRyKER's trying to figure out right now is this all-in mech, aka are these only going to be factories and pure Goliath production, do like the big 2-base Goliath shove? Or, is there some additional tech behind this? And so far, we're just seeing Goliaths here, Shun. So, could be going for that big 2-base timing.
I mean, there's no 4th or 5th factory just yet, but pumping of 3 factories this early on without double armory does seem to be leaning towards a 1-1 kind of style Goliath build, where he just wants to kill the Zerg with a crazy critical mass of Goliaths being ascertained. Got some tech coming out online in the way of an academy and starport as well. I haven't really seen too much indicator that this is going to be a big transition just yet from MadiNho. I mean, the problem with Zerg is like you got to identify this as soon as possible, because either it's the tech mech and you can transition into Hydras right away, or it's pure Goliath and you cannot transition out of mutas. It's like just pure Mutalisk at that point. You know, all hands on deck, maybe even getting the attack upgrade after Carapace to give you a slightly faster power boost to deal with that push timing and that kind of thing.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. Like, if StRyKeR recognizes that this is just the 2-base timing, he cannot spend any tech on queens, cannot spend any tech, I mean, really on anything other than just pure muta, which is what we're seeing. So I think StRyKER, for the most part, has recognized that.
Ooh, Vulture run by into the natural. They might get into the main as well. There is a Sunken here to deflect that, but not quite good enough. It does get maybe 1 or 2. Ooh, finally gets that burrow off, but 2 drones still bite the dust. One of the weird things about burrow is that if they get the shot off as you burrow and it connects as they're burrowed, it automatically unburrows them. It's a very strange, nuanced thing with Zerg, but it's kind of unfair in a way that even if you do burrow, sometimes your unit can still die because it automatically pops up again.
Yeah, it is kind of unfortunate, but I mean, only 2 drones, you know. I like that StRyKeR did research burrow. A lot of Zergs will be too greedy and kind of skip that, but there's just so many advantages to it in this matchup, particularly versus mech. Being able to deny thirds, fourths, scout, it's it's great.
Yeah, protecting your drones and scouting, I would say, are the 2 most important factors here, because usually the Terran scanners are a little bit behind schedule, and it's going to be a long time coming until science vessels are out. So having some borrowed Zerglings around the map just pays absolute dividends for that early game investment. And you can't really fault the decision making when it's so possible to lose so many drones very quickly if you're not quite careful and your Mutalisks are caught on the other side of the map.
We do see a Vulture sharking around for a base. Won't end up finding StRyKER's top left base, but the fact that StRyKER has the double gas base, this will only get worse and worse for MadiNho the longer that base goes undiscovered. I mean, he could just pure muta with 2 additional gases, and I mean, even if there's science vessels or whatever, he could just kind of run that over. So MadiNho's gonna need to scout that out here.
Yeah, it's a little bit tougher to defend that from the Goliath push and Vulture run-bys, but if it does go unchecked for a long time, it's a lot of juice in the engine for StRyKER to take advantage of. But he's doing a great job of shutting down this Vulture play from MadiNho. Like, look at this. Like, he's almost not able to squeeze out Vultures onto the map at all. There's one sneaking into the top left now. I'm not sure if he's got anything up there to defend. I hope he's got at least 1 Sunken up there. Has got the burrow upgrade as well, of course. Eventually, though, we'll want to try and sneak these Vultures into more of the mineral lines of StRyKER. Trying to do that now. The natural third gets 2 of the gas drones. Can he get a third? Does get a third. With that +1 upgrades, they can 2-shot these drones. So he's doing a great job of shutting down some of the economy of StRyKER here. But you could argue it's not nearly enough. He is now transitioning into a bit more of a teched out play, getting those vessels out and getting some more upgrades online. Seems like he will be doing some crazy 2-base timing where he's got Irradiate to try and deal with the Mutalisks in the air, and just an absolute monster of an army and those Goliaths trying to rampage across the map. We'll have to see if the transition for StRyKER is going to be strong enough, but he's been given a lot of time and killed a lot of these Vultures in the process, so maybe there's enough oxygen in the Zerg to get a full transition underway.
Yeah, with that 4th base, I mean, StRyKER is doing excellent now. There's kind of a timer that's been set on top of MadiNho. I mean, unless all the Vultures just kill all the drones top left, that would be nice. But either way, things are going pretty well for StRyKER here the longer this goes. I'm assuming MadiNho is probably going to get 3, maybe 4 vessels and then say it's time to go here.
I think so. I mean, you'd hope so. I mean, if he doesn't, I think he's just going to bleed dry out of this game. He's got a CC on the way, ready to float over to this natural third, but he's definitely behind schedule. Like, StRyKER can explode out onto the map whenever he wants to, going, and if the game continues on this way. He's actually ahead in supply quite significantly by 15 already in the mid-game phase. He can start to keep taking expansions again and again. Doesn't really matter if the Terran player's sitting back on 3 bases if StRyKER starts taking the entirety of the map and just Sauron Zergs MadiNho out of the game. So hopefully MadiNho can find some kind of attack vector soon. I think he should push up vertically into this top left pocket. It's not so easy to defend with Sunken. Say that a natural third and the natural, for example, much more defendable for the Zerg, but this top left is a little bit exposed.
Yeah, it definitely is exposed. Wow, we're already seeing the queen production. This is absolutely MadiNho's window.
Yes.
If those queens become useful here too quickly, yeah, MadiNho's in trouble. He's got to push left. And I think you're right, Sean. I think he is moving that way. It kind of helps him defend his own third while pressuring, StRyKER's very valuable double gas base. So, but yeah, the unit production of StRyKER has definitely already begun. We see 171 supply, plenty of Hydralisk at the moment. Mutalisk as well, as you said, has the supply lead. Never really, something you want to see as a Terran player. And he's not really engaging. I like what he's doing with the Hydras. He's kind of just clearing mines, backing up, clearing mines, putting a little pressure, backing up. I don't think he should commit here.
No. Especially if he can't bring all of his forces to bear in flanking positions, which he can't from this position. He should basically just be, threatening the idea of an attack to keep MadiNho back and, controlling this zone in the center between his rally and his third, and not allow MadiNho to feel too confident about pushing up northward to those expansions and buy himself some precious time. It takes 2 minutes from those queens hatching and having enough energy to broodling, so it's still a long ways off before those queens become relevant in this game. And they won't be able to provide too much value right away until the tanks are in full production. As you can see there, we've got another 40 seconds or so until that energy is fully operational on all those queens, and now the tanks are starting to pop out, so they'll be just in the nick of time. StRyKER might be able to squash MadiNho in this game. So Irradiate's starting to come down onto those Mutalisks. He needs to split those cleanly. If he loses those mutants for free, that's not going to be good.
Yeah, there's some painful Irradiates. I gotta say, I thought he did a little more than I think even MadiNho was expecting. Oh no.
Oh, that's brutal. Oh no, not like this.
Yeah, they got lured in with that Irradiate. Unfortunate. But I mean, this is right about that queen timing, so maybe StRyKER is just on point for what he needs to defend. The counter is forcing MadiNho's army back, but I mean, that was squashed, Sean.
Yeah.
That did nothing.
Absolutely nothing. I mean, bought him some seconds maybe from MadiNho being super confident about pushing across the map, but that's about it. We got 1-1 in the skies on these Muses, but look, he's bleeding units left, right, and center. This is really painful for a Zerg. You do not want to fight mech like this. You want all of your army fighting simultaneously for maximum value. And the Queen's coming in now for a massive round of Broodlings. Could be taking out 5 or 6 tanks in quick succession. Good cloning there from StRyKER, but he is bleeding a lot of units in the process.
Yeah, great cloning. I mean, he's still just kind of rallying everything. I prefer him to just sit back and kind of regather his forces at the moment. Now we see a 50 supply lead even from MadiNho. What a turn of events here.
Yeah, this is looking really good for MadiNho now. Like, I think that this is a very strong win condition. Like, he's defending while attacking is the main thing here. So MadiNho can get a quick 4th base off of this, and also now play an active threat role to this top left base. StRyKER has to respect this and keep, consolidating his own forces up into these tight little chokes in the top left, and that'll make these tanks, trade more efficiently than they should. And he's got these tanks all the way out into the top left, and they have to fly over these Goliaths to get there. And if the Queen dies before the Broodling actually connects with the tank, the Broodling doesn't even count. So he's doing a good job of killing a few of those Queens for free as they're on intercept vector with those siege tanks pressuring that top left base. Really high execution oriented playstyle from our Terran Norwegian MadiNho here, but it's certainly paying dividends.
Yeah, it's been great control from start to finish here from MadiNho. StRyKER is really the one getting a little impatient, maybe taking fights he shouldn't on the low ground. But I mean, he's just desperate. He knows he's got to hang on to top left here, or this game will continue to turn. Actually, sizable amount of Hydras kind of flanking from the south here. It's looking a little questionable for MadiNho to be able to hang on to the 4th base. Oh, very nice mine connects though from MadiNho. Exactly
75 in the chat, boys. Absolutely insanity right there. And look at this counterattack in the bottom right from MadiNho as well, shutting down this expansion effort. StRyKER is now drying up. He is Zerg and he's not oversaturated, so the main and natural will take a few more minutes than usual to become completely mined out, but the writing is on the wall for the Zerg. He has to do some critical damage soon. He's trying to target down this CC. He knows if he doesn't get some major damage done to the Terran right now, he might just fall by the wayside. He's going to abandon hopes of killing that CC and try and pick up a few of these tank kills instead. But I don't know if this is enough damage from StRyKER. I mean, the Terran could just run away with the game at this rate.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, StRyKeR needs to secure another base. He is now evened up on base count with the Terran, which is never where you want to be, right?
No.
He's got to secure something, or this game will not continue for StRyKeR.
Yeah, we got +3 weapons for these Terran units, only +2 attack upgrades for these Hydralisks on the ground as well. So MadiNho kind of ahead in every metric, both in economy, map positioning, and just raw upgrades now. Should be able to trade more and more efficiently with the Zerg as time goes on. Mech is just a more cost-efficient army when all's said and done. You can sometimes use lurkers under Dark Swarm to sandbag the Terran's advances versus Mech, but it's usually just, you know, buying you some time as a placeholder until you can build up a strong enough army. But in this case, there's just not enough economy waiting for StRyKeR back at home to kind of overcome those odds. He's trying to take a 4th base yet again, but I don't know, man. He's got a few queens to keep trading somewhat efficiently, but I don't like his position at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say StRyKeR probably agrees with you here. Not the best spot, especially given how well the early game went for StRyKeR. Anytime you're down on upgrades at this point versus Mech, Hydras don't trade well versus Mech to begin with. When they're behind in upgrades, it gets even worse, So, man, it's gotta be. This is just a tough spot here. StRyKeR's best hope is going to be hoping he can basically utilize his queens as well as possible and clear the tanks before any of these engagements even start. But MadiNho's just been so good about his positioning and protecting them that he's made it quite difficult here.
Oh, absolutely. I love the way he puts his Goliaths between the tanks and the incoming queens to get maximum value on shooting those down as they're coming in. This is a good counterattack from StRyKeR. The tanks are out of position right now. He's hoping that the tanks rotate down for his queens to clean up in just a moment. Overlord spots that. He can set up the attack now with the queens if he wants to, or at least just to clean out a few of the tanks. Now he's pulling the trigger on these Hydras, but he's kind of hooing and hawing a little bit. He either needs to commit to the attack or completely abandon it. He's also dealing with a counterattack of vultures that is natural 4th location. He realizes he can't handle task switching. I don't know about this, man. Yeah. I mean, I think he's lost his window to punish this tank count of MadiNho. I thought he was going to get a round of broodlings off and then kind of go back to either chilling or counterattacking elsewhere. But it seems like he did neither of those things.
Yeah, he's kind of just been in limbo. And I mean, a lot of it is because of the pressure MadiNho is putting on him. It's, no decision seems like the right decision sometimes.
Yeah. Let's just point out to our viewers that just because you as the gamer know how to play against Mech, executing it is a totally different ball game, and so many pro gamers struggle with that as well. They know exactly what to do against Mech, but making it happen is just another matter entirely. There's a small window of opportunity here with the tanks on siege, but no queens currently nearby to support, so has to keep playing keep away from the Terran right now. Is sniping one of these tanks in the top left potentially. Wants to get a massive cancel on that CC in the top left and stop the expansion warp up. Here comes some beautiful broodlings finally. And the EMP captures most of those. Four queens, man. That's 4 tanks that will not die now for MadiNho. This is a problem to say the least. That CC didn't fall, and he's retaken his natural 4th. So he's still got a 3-base Terran economy to face against.
It's still been a struggle here for MadiNho, but oh wow, 6 more tanks join up at the 4th base. Actually, even more. Yeah, this is looking like just about it here for StRyKeR. I don't know how he could continue to pressure with so many tanks here. He has been able to secure a 4th base of his own here. We see as MadiNho harasses the mineral line here. But yeah, this is just a tough spot for StRyKeR to be in.
Wow, this is just relentless from MadiNho. He smells blood in the water and he's sharking for StRyKeR right now. Tanks pushing along this northern flank, trying to take control of this northern hemisphere completely. There's only 1 broodling to try and support on the ground, but not enough production from StRyKeR. He's lost the critical mass of Hydras to fight against this and doesn't have any counterattack options as well. So this is basically a slow, painful death for our American Zerg, unfortunately. This is really rough because he's going to be eliminated from the tournament now. This is the loser bracket round. StRyKeR probably not too happy with his performance, but it is what it is. MadiNho just playing absolutely out of his mind today, setting the tempo in game number 1, and now showing an absolute masterclass in Mech on Eclipse. GG is called.
Yeah, GG. Well done there by MadiNho. Absolutely was the stronger player there. But man, given the start, StRyKeR was really looking like a big problem here on Eclipse for MadiNho. But MadiNho kind of just stuck to his guns, got the better trades overall, and yeah, took a great series there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so surprised. I mean, he is kind of like a bit of a special forces Terran player in terms of the range of play he has and his unit control overall. I really do feel like his 2v2 specialty kind of helps tie into this 1v1 a little bit with his understanding of nuances and the ability to control units exceptionally well in kind of weird circumstances where some of these other 1v1 players aren't quite as adept at doing so. I mean, they understand the overall arc of the game and what they need to do, but it seems like he's got that little bit of extra finesse, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's got, I mean, absolutely the unit control there, the decision making, the EMP on the Queens, man. I mean, that's something special. You don't really get to see very often, even in the BSL. So I was definitely very impressed with MadiNho there. And you know, with that, we see he's going to be moving on, I believe, to face yeah, the loser of match 1, which would be Dragon and Hawk.
Yeah,
So
that's going to be sick. Whoever drops down to face him, I'm going to be happy with that. That's going to be special. I'm almost hoping it's Hawk because I love to see MadiNho in Zerg versus Terran. He's got one of the wider ranges of play out of most of these foreigner Terran players, I would say. Some of these other guys are kind of like, you know, a little bit railroaded into their styles and how they play. I don't think Terra or MadiNho are either of those guys. They're like the two kind of like wild cards of the Terran race.
yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I mean, when you think Terran, the most static of all the races, you know, kind of the one that forces the least amount of you know,
Creativity.
creativity, but
I knew you were going
then
to say that.
you have these diamonds in the rough, man. Like, and that's absolutely what Terra and MadiNho really are for the race. So
Absolutely,
yeah.
man. And I'm all about it. I love to see that. It's almost like they say, hold my beer and show these other Terran nerds how it's done. And I'm here to stay if that's going to be the continued trajectory of this tournament. And we got Terra in the winner bracket, MadiNho down in the lower bracket. I hope he can go the distance. Who knows, man? I mean, that Norwegian crazy guy drinking Bacardi might make it all the way through to the loser bracket finals. That is definitely possible. So who do we have up next? I know we're doing the game slightly out of sequence here today.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going straight to our next losers bracket match, which should be JD Conan TT1. There we go. Oh, okay. So I guess just to let everybody know, sounds like we're still waiting on JD Conan for the moment, but if not, we might be going live here with Cross versus Ultra, depending on whichever match is available first. So yeah.
Okay. And I believe those two have a teeny tiny bit of history, but not a lot. I think, yeah, they've played against each other in the BSL Racers Championship, a little bit in the BSL StarLeague back in the day. I don't think too much, but it does seem that they're a little bit even. I think maybe Ultra getting slightly the better end of the stick in terms of overall games played. I know he 3-0'd Crossy one time. Ultra also, you know, got a few games off of him more recently in the 2024. He got a few games off him, but it's been fairly even. It's a very small data sample size, so it's hard to say which of these two players will come out on top. Crossy's a very, very intelligent Zerg and knows his race inside and out. He's gonna, yeah. Okay, we are going to have JD Conan and TT1. I've just got confirmation that that's going to be good because I would like to do these things as ordered originally. That'd be kind of cool. And JD Conan's these